Yeah, you know, it's such a serious challenge, Paddy. And in Ireland, we have a very strange relationship with energy and climate. There's a thing that I think a psychologist or psychiatrist called cognitive dissonance. It's kind of a strange ability to be able to hold two different conflicting ideas in our mind, but to be comfortable with that. And kind of at a social level and almost at a national level, we have that with climate and energy in Ireland. You know, we project this image abroad. We tell everyone how green and clean we are, and in many ways we are. We have some great success stories, which we'll talk about later. But actually, when you step back and look at our emissions, for example, you know, the main causes of climate change. Now, at a global level, Ireland's contribution to global climate change is relatively small, but that is, in essence, just a coincidence of our geography. We're a small country. We're a small island nation. We don't have a lot of people. But actually, if we look at the consequences of our social and economic activity, if we look at what we do as people, we are one of the largest greenhouse gas producers per person in Europe. And if everybody in the world lived like we do in Ireland, the world would already be about 3 degrees warmer. So we don't have a very positive story to tell when we look at all our greenhouse gas emissions on a per person basis. And that's disappointing. But then if we step back and look at the other element of transition we're talking today, energy and energy security, again, we tell people that we're green and clean, but actually today, we're going to spend about 20 million euros importing fossil fuel into Ireland. We are one of the most fossil fuel dependent countries in Europe. About 85, 87% of all our energy last year comes from fossil fuels at an incredible expense. And as you're saying, you know, we tend not to see that money leaving the country, but we see the consequences of stuff that's happening outside the country now very much, very present in our energy bills, in our electricity bills, in our heating bills, in our transport bills. So Ireland is not immune at all from the climate change risks. We're very much exposed when it comes to energy security risks. And we're very much part of the problem in Ireland. You know, we can't talk our way out of it. We're very much embedded in it. How we live, how we produce our energy, how we produce our food is very much part of the global challenge. And these are the things that we need to look at very seriously in Ireland.
And what are the effects that we're seeing now? So, you know, I know when I was much younger and I was hearing about the impacts of climate change, it sounded quite notional. But, you know, we've started to see what were once in a century weather events become one in a decade weather events and so forth. So what is the world experiencing at the moment as a result of climate change, and where does this trend go to?
Yeah, that's a really good point, isn't it? Like we often thought of climate change as something, you know, it's something you see happening to other people on TV, but we see now it's actually coming much closer to home. We see the consequences of those events that happen on TV kind of ripple now to our own shores in terms of energy prices and food risks and climate risks. And even just looking around the world today at the moment, look at extreme weather. The weather is unfortunately getting weirder. It's getting more extreme. And that's causing a lot of infrastructural damage. And while we don't particularly experience a lot of those direct implications in Ireland at the moment, we do get the secondary effects. You know, we're seeing that in food costs. We're seeing it in energy costs. So that's one of the difficulties that we're seeing in Ireland at the moment. That it's not just stuff that's happening on TV anymore. It's coming closer to our shores, and we're starting to live it and see it every day.